Now we'll go ahead and do the Z-axis parts. This one's pretty simple. We have a motor and a couple of other parts, but nothing too serious. This is the motor that runs the Z-axis that makes the table go up and down. We're going to dump out our parts carefully so we don't lose any of the small pieces. We have a coupling that allows us to connect the motor to the threaded rod later, and we have 2 screws and a spacer plate. Your motors will be labeled with a Z on them so that you know that's the right motor. Make sure you use the right motor. First thing we'll do is take our coupling and we're going to just loosen with our Allen wrench. The bottom, we have a small hole in one end and a larger hole in the other. The large hole goes up, the small hole goes on the shaft of the motor. So we want to loosen that bottom one for now. You'll notice there's 2 screws with a slot here in the middle so we can tighten these to different size shafts. I'm going to go ahead and put that on there, and I'm going to use my screwdriver as a spacer. I'm going to slide that down so that I'm kind of pushing down on top of my screwdriver. I want about a 1/4 inch gap under there. I'll go ahead and tighten that bottom screw up. Now on this one we don't have a flat spot on the shaft, so we'll just put it anywhere, snug it up, and then pull the screwdriver out. And you'll notice that that gives us about a 1/4 inch gap between the bottom of the collar and the top of the motor. Now you'll notice the power connector for the motor. That needs to be turned so that we can connect a wire to it once it's on the printer. It'll be sitting on the printer with the connector pointed toward the back of the printer. So I need to put my spacer plate on the front of the motor, opposite the connector side. It does matter which way this spacer goes. You'll notice we have 2 screw holes that are pretty big, tapered. That's what helps us hold it to the machine when we're done. Then we have 2 smaller holes that will connect to the motor, and then this kind of flat edge that will go up against the frame. So we want to put the flat edge toward the front of the motor. I'm going to take my 2 screws and put 1 in each side for now. Set that down over the holes on the motor. Okay, so I have this small hole, that small hole. I'm going to line up my screw holes. And then I'm going to get my Allen wrench. Now I'm using a screwdriver Allen wrench. You guys will be using the ones in your kits. And I'm going to get that one started. Then I'm going to come over and do this other one. And I'm pushing back kind of on the spacer there, on the block, as I snug it down, just so that it stays flush with the front of the motor, because I want it to fit tight against the frame later. So I snug those 2 down, just snug enough to hold it but not break the plastic, and then we're finished. So we have our adapter with the big hole on top, our power connector opposite of our block. We have the big holes on the block facing the power connector, and just the flat part of the block flush with the outside of the motor. And that's it for the Z motor. We'll go ahead and put that back in our bag so we don't forget what it is or where it came from. And we're ready for the next step.